Hello YouTubers, this is Nick from Geekydom, and this video is more of a stream of consciousness, a stream of thought on what the Quest is about and what it means for Oculus, or what it means for Facebook. Was it a good idea for Facebook to concentrate on this standalone device, the Quest, than basically taking the Rift and making a Rift 2? A lot of us who started out with VR playing about 3 years ago when we got our first Oculus setup and the HTC Vive, some of us were hoping that the Rift 2 would come out, and then they announced the Quest. So what do I think about this? It took me some time to really put my thoughts together on what I think about the aspect of having the Quest over a Rift 2. And I think my conclusion to this is that I think it was a better decision. If we want high fidelity, we do have the Rift S, and they did release that, and it's sort of a sideline, slightly better improved version of Oculus Rift. There wasn't enough support, enough users on the Rift to generate the revenue for developers. They need a base of a lot of users, a lot of people, in order for them to initiate and establish a company or businesses to basically concentrate on doing VR games. If that user base is not there, there's not too many people who are going to initiate that money. So you have less investors initiating money into VR, or you have companies who are basically putting forth their own money to develop software, develop games to play, and maybe a few of those will be good, and some of them have. There's some great games on the Oculus Rift, and Oculus itself, with Oculus Studios, have been supporting this, but there's not a lot of users, and the reason why is because it's a big investment. You have to have a high-end PC, and you have to basically buy the whole setup. It's a lot of investment for people to try out, and also because people don't really understand what it is, and we've gone over this before in the past. But with the Quest, the push is to get a lot of users introduced into what VR is, get a lot of people established into gameplay using this as a new platform. And I think with that in hand, we're going to get a lot more people buying into the Rift or buying into the Quest, and the word's going to spread much faster. You're going to have a bigger user base, and we're going to be able to get a chance to try even more games. And I think that's what a lot of the hoopla around the Quest, and the reason why we have a lot of good games in opening is because it is an extremely promising platform, and I think a lot of the developers that Oculus pushed the Quest into to develop games for saw this potential. And this potential is going to make this system sell because you don't require anything but the unit itself. Which is interesting because my big workstation that I usually play with, like the Pimax, it broke down, and I can't play VR right now. And so now I'm waiting for the release of the Quest, which should arrive at my house on the 21st. And I'm looking forward to that because I don't have to hook it up to anything. And I think that's a good example of what this is going to do. Now, if you look at the PSVR as an example, they have 4 million units sold for the VR headsets. And because of that, there's a large user base that they've been developing games. And there's some great games on PSVR. And, and a lot of us who have the high-end systems have to wait for some of those PSVR games to get ported over to the PC, because there's people developing for the PSVR because of that user base. So by establishing a large user base with a Quest, this also allows that influx of users, more quality output for games, more developers, and then, of course, the next iteration whether it's the Rift 2, but I hope another iteration of the Quest is going to be even a better system. Now, I think the Quest is going to show that we should move away from a wired system. So if anybody here has any differing opinions, this is a good place to discuss this. I'm really curious what you think. Do you think that there should be a Rift 2 now? Should have been released at the same time as a Quest? Or should the Rift 2 been a Quest with a tethered system so it could play a higher end experience? I think not. I think the Quest is exactly what it should be, and this timing and what they are doing is to basically increase user base. Coming out of working for a company that developed hardware for the gaming industry, I understand the profit motive that is required, and in order for Oculus to survive as a company, even with all the resources that Facebook has, they still need to substantiate why they're in existence for the Oculus Rift. And with maybe a user base of about 500,000 units that have been sold, it's not big enough. It's not big enough to support the developers. And now we have a chance to develop a user base to support those developers. So tell me what you think. Is this something that we need and demand, is a Quest system that's standalone, even though the fidelity and the quality of the imagery is going to be less? And understand the Quest, the visual, the hardware, the optics is actually superior than the Rift. So what do you think? Is this the right move for Facebook? Do we need a Rift 2 now, or should we be focusing on wireless systems? Thanks for joining the channel, and subscribe if you haven't. And the next video, hopefully I'll be reviewing the Quest and some games. So see you guys next time. Quest on.